Welcome back to Lobotomy Corporation. I'm Grillmastah, and today we have Nameless Fetus. Nameless Fetus appears to be a sort of blob child with a giant mouth on their stomach. The armor and weapon of Nameless Fetus is on this employee right here, Cooper. The weapon is white damage, so it's actually relatively useful, and it is bolt hay. When you send an employee in who is mostly 3 across the board, minus 4 for justice, instinct is high, insight is common, attachment is common, and repression is common. If you hear the baby crying, it means one of us is going to be disappeared. Cooper has just entered the chamber, but Nameless Fetus is unresponsive, not like other babies. Big, pitch-black pupils are staring at nowhere. They don't even blink. Cooper looks back to check on Nameless Fetus. Luckily, Nameless Fetus endures Nameless Fetus's work without crying. Nameless Fetus feels his starvation and all of a sudden stares at Cooper. Nameless Fetus's pure evil penetrates the object. There is a long scar-looking line on the abdomen of Nameless Fetus. Unlike other babies, Nameless Fetus doesn't whine or look for mother. The only thing Nameless Fetus resembles other babies is that it sucks its body part, which is assumed to be the thumb, as if it's hungry, showing off its dismal desire. When the work result is bad, it starts to cry. As it cries, it gives off waves and affects everything nearby and lowers the quelth counter on it. To stop it from crying, you have to do the Wheel of Fortune. It proceeds to choose a random employee or clerk. If you're lucky, it will be a clerk. And just like censored, it will pull them in. They will be very, very upset about their situation as they walk down to the abnormality. When they walk in, a giant tongue-type thing reaches out, grabs them, and it devours whoever comes in. The story of Nameless Fetus. The creature takes the shape of an unborn fetus. Its skin is covered with a sticky slime-like liquid and many little visible veins. The creature's abnormally bulged eyes are usually closed. The creature always seems unsatisfied, but exactly what it needs is undetermined, as it has a great obsession to being fed, and if it is not fed regularly, its stress levels rise drastically. When it reaches a critical level of stress, it cries out loudly, with a cry that mentally harms all who may be around the creature. Excerpt from interview log number 2-49, number 2-49. Employee F2706. I've never seen it smile. It's always seemed to want something, but we can't ever fulfill its desire. I guess the reason why it's crying is destructive, because its unsatisfied needs are too strong. When I was new here, one of my colleagues would tell me exactly what the feed was. I thought it was milk or something else that little babies consume. It is a baby, after all, even with all that grossness. But that was not the case. It only eats human flesh. Can you believe it? To stop it from crying, we have to hold a draw every once in a while. Do you know what that means? Observation log 1-431. When I first heard that the Nameless Fetus needed to be fed, I thought we need to feed it with like a spoon. It looked too weak to do anything, and its mouth wasn't fully developed. And when I found out that the creature eats meat, I thought it would need to be first chewed by someone so it would become soft. When I asked my colleague about it, he laughed and said, "No, that's ridiculous. We just need to leave the food and go." But I still wondered how the creature can eat stuff. Do we serve it the succulent kind of steak that isn't even available to us in the cafeteria? Out of curiosity, I decided to sneak a peek at the feeding process. Only level 3 or higher employees are assigned to the process, but I was able to attend with a fake excuse that I was covering for someone. And I watched nervously. Would my lie be worth it? Some people came along with some large plastic bags. Does it eat that much? And when they opened the bags, I could only gape in horror. They were human corpses, and the child ate it. How? I don't even want to imagine it. It had a large scar on its stomach. I really thought it was a kind of scar, like a large flower. Its stomach would open, dripping with slimy liquid. It was the greediest creature in the world. That night, I became a vegetarian. I am Polly. I started working for Lobotomy since 2 days ago. My parents are very proud of me for entering such a big company. My friends are envious of me. I'm making a lot of trouble right now, but someday I will be as capable as my coworkers. There is a special event in our company held only for employees. No one knows when or why this event is being held. Even my colleagues, who have worked here 5 years, don't seem to know. When the event starts, a giant roulette spins. Then everyone stops what they are doing and stare at the roulette to see who is going to be selected. The names of every single employee are written on the said roulette. Nobody knows who will be selected. Whoever that might be, they are extremely lucky. Their family will be gifted with unimaginable fortune. They promote and transfer to another branch of the company. It's called Central Headquarter. In Central Headquarter, you don't have to worry about being attacked by monsters or bid farewell to the dead coworkers. My boss, redacted, desperately hopes he is the lucky one. His father got into an accident. It takes a lot of money to keep him alive and well. I sincerely hope the roulette is to choose redacted. When the roulette chooses Redacted's name, I congratulate him with all my heart, but he didn't look so happy. People hugged Redacted one by one, while crying for some reason. He said goodbye to me, struggling to keep his tears from shedding, and with a forced smile. I haven't seen him since. I believe he's working under much better conditions and payment. But when I try to have a conversation about him, people just stop talking and shake their heads, as if I said something I shouldn't. I can't forget what he said to me before he left. One day, maybe you will know the meaning of desperation in the faces when the roulette spins. The manager has the right to hold a special event for employees without specific occasion. When the event starts, a giant roulette spins and selects one of the employees' names. The selected employee is promoted, transferred to another branch, see below for detailed information, and their family will receive yearly pension. No personnel are allowed to invade the manager's right to hold the event. Following is information strictly forbidden to public eye. Required condition to hold the event. Data closed. Data closed. When the crying of Nameless Fetus is at its peak, the roulette selects an employee that satisfied one of the conditions below. 1. One who questions the purpose of the company. 2. One who conducted or planned unauthorized experiments on abnormalities. 3. One who has excessive curiosity about abnormalities and conducted or planned the unauthorized observation. 4. One who became incapable of working due to physical or psychological damage. Unauthorized means unauthorized by the company or Angela. Following actions are taken on the selected employee. 1. Removal of the records that the company has on that employee. 2. Sacrificial ceremony of the employee to the abnormality. 3. Informing the employee's family that he or she has been transferred to another branch. Management Tip 1. When the work result was normal, Nameless Fetus Quelth counter was decreased with a low probability. Management Tip 2. When the work result was bad, Nameless Fetus Quelth counter was decreased with a high probability. Management Tip 3. When Nameless Fetus's Quelth counter reaches 0, Nameless Fetus bursts into tears. Employees who heard its cry complained of a headache. Also, the Quelth counter of abnormality that heard the crying gradually decreased over time. Management Tip 4. When Nameless Fetus was crying, only redacted work could be done. Management Tip 5. Employee Hannah was selected for roulette for redacted work. Then he quietly walked into Nameless Fetus's containment room. It stopped crying after a moment of turmoil. Instinct is common on 1 and 2 and high on 3, 4, and 5. Insight is low across the board. Attachment is low across the board. And repression is low across the board. The weapon is white damage. It is very fast and it is long range. The armor is 1.2 to red, 0.5 to white, 0.8 to black, and 1.5 to pale. So for a hay, this is actually pretty good. The 0.5 to white is relatively low. The gift is head 2, HP minus 2, SP minus 2, movement speed plus 6, attack speed plus 6, and reduces white damage by 5%. So it's relatively good if you can handle taking the loss to this. It is a Quelth counter of 1, so it will cry out rather regularly. It's best just to leave it alone if you have already gotten the gear from it and everything learned. And that has been Nameless Fetus. Until next time.